Hi, this is Cassandra from EI360. I'm very excited to talk about independent work time. Independent work time is a fun time where you can really get your students to work independently while you pull groups. Take a look. To tell you a little bit about it, so it's like a workshop. It occurs daily. It usually happens 30 to 45 minutes per day, but it always starts out with 5 minutes per day because we want to build that stamina for students to be able to hang that long. Usually it occurs before, during, or after reading lessons, and students are heavily involved with meaningful learning activities independently or in collaborative groups that will help support your lesson. Now, first of all, it starts with rules. We have to lay down the ground rules so students know their expectations, and we have to make sure we revisit the rules to debrief the lesson so students know what we did right and know our expectation as teachers. Remember, our rules are short, kid-friendly. The language should be able to refer them into the debrief. Also, you can include the students in what should be the rules of our independent work time. Here are a couple sample rules. Short, work quietly, be courteous and polite, maybe share materials, and teach them and walk them through what it means to work with different materials and how do you share or barter services, and what does it look like to go get something from the library when you're done. So keep this in mind when it really comes to understanding the expectations of the students, and the students will know exactly what you want, but you have to lay the ground rules first. Now, here are the phases of independent work time. There are 5 phases that we know, and we can always go back to a phase prior if what we are knowing that it's not working. So phase 1, set the ground rules. We give independent tasks. We really go over the tasks, make sure everybody knows and understands the expectation, and we monitor. So at this point, we're not pulling groups. We're monitoring the class to make sure everybody's on task. Step 2, we review the rules, we give tasks, we monitor. Same thing, we might extend the amount of time that it takes for students to make sure they're working independently. Step 3, that's when we're starting to diversify our learning. So we're giving them tasks and choices if they have completed their assignment. Step 4, we diversify the must-dos and then the may-dos so students can have choice. And then step 5, we revisit all the stages and we differentiate instruction depending on our needs and expectations. So I'm going to go through all the phases, but let's go ahead and begin with step 1. Step 1 usually involves 1 to 2 week phases if needed. I will start out with 1 week, see how it's going, and then I would do 2 weeks if we are not supporting the teacher if we are not doing what the teacher exactly wants us to do. So keep that in mind. Step 1, 5 to 10 minutes, 1 to 2 weeks.
You've already figured out that you can read those and that you like those. But if you're finished with those, or you're almost finished with those, or if you need a new book, then you'll come to the classroom library. You'll choose one. Today is to walk around and see that you have followed the procedures well. I want to hear what you thought about workshop time, what you liked about it. I also want to know what we can do better for tomorrow.
As you can see, the teacher did multiple things. So 1, she set the rules and expectation. She was very clear. Step 2, she gave them an independent task. Typically, the task is usually a sheet that we went over all the answers, or read a book for 5-10 minute time. We want to make sure we build stamina, and she monitored the classroom. So students didn't interrupt her, she monitored, and then when she was done, she debriefed and said what went well, what are some things we need to work on. And the students chimed in and shared what went well, what are some things they need to work on. But remember, we cannot get to 30 to 45 minutes a day unless we build that up. Again, start with 5 to 10 minutes, give the rules, give the independent tasks, and you have to troubleshoot what do they do when they're lost, or what do they do if they don't know the answer, or what do they do if they're done reading their book, and what does that look like? And we need to model that as a teacher. And then you monitor. Remember, you're monitoring. You don't interrupt. You want to make sure that everybody is doing what they are supposed to do, but you don't interrupt the students and they do not interrupt you with monitoring the tasks. Any questions? Let me know. All right, let's get started. So what I want to see is make sure you look at the rules, you review your own rules and expectation, you give the students an assignment, whether it be read a book for 5 to 10 minutes or to do a sheet that you've reviewed for 5 to 10 minutes. And then last but not least, make sure you can troubleshoot. We want to make sure that our students know what to do if they get stuck. So think about those things and those procedures that you need to put in place. And last but not least, make sure you debrief the lesson. Talk about what went well, what are some things we need to do better for tomorrow, and remember, only 1 to 2 weeks for phase 1. Good luck.